though now. Doesn't he? Don't you? Do you have that?
I have it, and I don't have it printed.
It's not HoovieGuerrero.com though, is it?
No, but
it's something else. You put it on the hotline.
I'll put it on the hotline. But Hoovie posted a commentary and talked about the incident down in Australia,
and he apologized.
And he took full blame for it, which he should have done. And he's also signed apparently with XPW to work some dates for them.
Now, the one thing I heard about that apology though is he said that's the only thing that he's ever done. Isn't that what it said?
Yeah, that's what it said. But,
what I'm saying is,
the one time I did anything wrong, I
was so bad this one time.
Oops! I will never do it again. Honestly, we give everybody one strike. He had the DUI, then he had the drug thing. Okay, now don't go Daryl Strawberry on us.
That's right.
Anything else, Nightmare? He's gone.
Wow.
Just in and out. In and out.
You know what? I could have an Andy comment right there, too, but I'm not going to.
Anyway, Julia, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Julia's got all the votes now here for the... we're going to give away a couple copies of Mick Foley's Christmas Chaos book. We're also going to give away a copy of No Mercy for Nintendo 64 from THQ. And also, one thing here real quick, next week or two, we're going to start giving out the details about the Wrestling Guys 2000 Listener Year-End Awards.
Yes.
And if you remember, last year it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of good time with it. We've got a lot of prizes we're going to give away this year.
That's awesome.
And on our final show of the year, we always give out the awards. And
when does the voting start for that?
The voting will begin next week. We'll lay out the ground rules, and then you'll be able to send in your votes and who you think. And the winner in a number of categories: Wrestler of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Caller of the Year, Match of the Year.
Good one.
But then we also let you make up your own awards.
That's right.
And Julia might get Producer of the Year.
You could.
She absolutely could get Producer of the Year.
You might get 69 of the Year.
Which mic is his?
I'm not sure which one that is.
It's the 69th wonder of the world. That's what I meant.
I know that's what you meant. But so we will give you the information about that. Also next week, Gary Michael Capetta, author of Body Slams, ring announcer for WCW WWF. He will be on as well. And not really any breaking news we need to update you on, I think.
No, there was nothing.
So, Julia, do you have some winners over there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the first one will get a copy of Mick Foley's Christmas Chaos.
All right.
And the book with illustrations by Jerry the King Lawler features a naked elf on the cover, so you cannot buy this at Walmart.
That's right.
All right. So, first one, Julia, who is it?
The first one, well, let's just say that Angle was...
Yes, first of all.
That's right. Kurt Angle was voted the Turkey of the Year.
Yes, he was the Turkey of
Thank you for tabulating those.
Yes.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah,
going to college
a landslide victory. Were you able to draw Timmy pretty well? Is that the college? Never mind.
Okay.
Timmy! Anyway, yeah, that's not tonight. Anyway, where the hell was I?
Kurt Angle was Turkey of the Year. Now, who's winning the Mick Foley's Christmas Chaos? Julia. Who is it? The first one.
Draw it out. Here
Draw
we go.
it out. Come on.
It's
John, yeah. So John will get in touch with you. The second winner will get another copy of Mick Foley's Christmas Chaos. Julia, pick another winner right here. Julia trying to get the drum roll. There you go. All right.
And the next winner is...
quick drum roll. Kill the timpani.
You're supposed to end when the drum roll stops.
Julia, fade out. Fade it out.
Okay. Is Alan.
Alan gets a copy of Mick Foley's
They're never letting us come back to the station ever again.
Absolutely not. And our grand prize winner with a copy of No Mercy, WWF No Mercy from THQ, now featuring an all-new ladder match, over 65 WWF superstars, all new double team moves, and like the Dudley 3D death drop, and you can take the action out of the ring in 10 different backstage areas.
Wow.
Sounds cool. Like Friday for Julia. Anyway, Julia. Dale gets a copy of No Mercy for Nintendo 64.
Awesome.
We will be getting in touch with you. Congratulations to all of you for winning that. And I think that just about wraps up our time. So, again...
Kind of wraps up our time?
You have it? You can talk a little bit.
All right, what do you want to talk?
We're building up toward the end of the show.
What do you want to talk? I want to talk about what are you thankful for in wrestling? What are you thankful for?
That's a good question.
Do what?
That's a good question.
What am I thankful for in wrestling?
Yes.
Lita.
Oh, gosh.
I can
Even
go for that.
even a bloody Lita?
Yeah, well, yeah. And, and the one thing...
She was
and as sappy,
Why do you keep looking at me like that?
Wait. No, seriously, as sappy as all this sounds, I want to thank everybody that listens to the show, everybody that calls into the hotline.
Absolutely. Do you have some cheery music you can play?
You have, like, some sappy kind of stuff in the background.
Well, nice. No.
But absolutely, I mean, Willie knows this, Marty knows this. We get a lot of great messages on the hotline.
And a lot more lately, too. And I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, when we started this a year and a half ago...
It's becoming a chore to empty them out.
when we started this a year and a half ago, it was like, okay, cool, we're going to get together on Wednesdays, talk wrestling, have some fun.
That's not it.
That's not happy, cheery music.
As you can tell, the eggnog has already been poured out here in the station.
Yes, and so anyway, the response we get, some of the things we've got to do has been just incredibly incredible. And so I'm sure, Julia, shut the hell up. But I'm sure that I can talk on behalf of Marty that we're very thankful for that.
Yes,
so again, thank
me
all
too.
of you.
And you know, I love doing the hotlines on the weekends, and I'm going to do my best to answer questions.
That's going to be your resolution.
That's my New Year's resolution. I did. All last week. I mean, I answered questions.
Good for you.
Around. I did.
You know, this whole therapy thing's working for you.
It is.
Julia, things you're thankful for? Quickly.
Everything.
A complete,
oh, gosh.
A complete thought.
How sappy was that?
Julia was a complete thought.
She's happy for her complete thought, I guess, anyway. Again, don't forget, in all seriousness, the show is. Again, this weekend, you got 2 indie shows to check out. 25th is going to be big in Fairborn, OCW, and Urbana. You've got Violent Championship Wrestling. Check out one of those guys. Bust their ass every single time they go out.
Go out and see independent wrestling.
Absolutely.
Do not just sit on your butts watching television, watching things that you pretty much are going to already know what's going to happen. Go out and see the talent that is coming up through the ranks. These guys, plus, these guys, for the most part, I don't think it's any big secret, on the average, an independent wrestler will get between nothing and maybe $100 a night.
Right.
These guys are busting their butts because they love doing it, and they love doing it for the fans, and actually they get, truly, the show is a lot better if you have a lot of fans there.
Absolutely.
So go out and support them, please.
Couldn't agree with you more. Don't forget, call the Wrestling Guys hotline, 285-0991. Everybody have a safe Thanksgiving. Eat a lot. And for Marty Adams, who I'm sure would wish you all a happy Thanksgiving as well, I'm Shawn Stidham. Willie, thanks for coming in again.
Thank you for having me once again.
Julia, happy Thanksgiving to you. Enjoy your stuffing. You're listening to the Wrestling Guys on Buckeye Country 106.5. Good night.
Are you ready?
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
No chance, so that's what you got.
You think you know me, and you think you know me. You think you know me.
Well.
And now 106.5 Buckeye Country is proud to present Marty Adams and Shawn Stidham, the Wrestling Guys. Back here for another week on Buckeye Country 106.5. Good evening, Dayton. I am Shawn Stidham. Marty Adams on assignment tonight. And the man that used to be known as the Slop. Joe's across the board. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing just fine. And a lot of stuff to get into tonight. It is going to be an action-packed show, so just sit back, grab some popcorn, order some pizza, get some nice cold beverages, whatever you prefer. And
cuddle up with a loved one.
Whatever that may be, Joe. You go ahead and blow her up and sit right by her because it's going to be a big show.
Whatever it takes to get it done.
Coming up a little bit later. Right now we have definitely 2 interviews tonight, possibly 3. HWA champion Ray Steele is going to join us a little later in the program. HWA will start running free weekly shows down in Cincinnati. He'll talk about that. 8 o'clock, Gary Michael Capetta, former ring announcer for WWF and WCW, author of the book Body Slams, an excellent book. He's going to talk about that. It goes behind the scenes, talk about guys like Ric Flair, Sid, Ricky Steamboat. The list goes on, and it's a fascinating book. I can't recommend it enough. And he's going to join us. And also, we're chasing down a couple of... I'm not even going to mention, I don't want to jinx that. We're chasing down another one, too, which...
Surprise.
Could be fun.
It's suspense.
It'll be interesting. I don't know if anybody would know who it is, but it's going to be very interesting. Let's put it that way. And let's go ahead and get right into news. A lot of speculation right now about what the future of World Championship Wrestling is. Depending on which website you go to, you're going to get a totally different story. Wade Keller of the Pro Wrestling Torch is reporting that Eric Bischoff is talking with Brad Siegel in Los Angeles about buying World Championship Wrestling, and that Bischoff has another financial backer, not Mandalay Sports this time. Now, Keller says that it's the Columbia TriStar Company. It's the same company that produces Battle Dome, and apparently Eric Bischoff was the intermediary between the WCW and Battle Dome angle. I don't know if I'd want to take credit for that, but that's what Bischoff did. Anyway, and there's also talk now that the tapings for WCW would move to Las Vegas weekly. That WCW would come out of Las Vegas weekly now, I guess, for Nitro and Thunder and pretty much for everything, which is kind of reminding me of the old AWA days when they ran out of the Tropicana Hotel, and we all know how successful that was for the AWA. Now, did I mention Bischoff was working with the AWA at that time? That wasn't good.
Now, the question is, are they still going to have one live and then tape Thunder right after Nitro?
Well, see, this is all speculative right now. Nobody knows for sure, because if you go to Bob Ryder at OneWrestling.com, who I respect a lot, he says this is total bunk. Eric Bischoff says he never met with Brad Siegel. I don't believe Eric Bischoff, because Eric Bischoff certainly in the past has kind of tried to swerve people whenever something was brought up that, Bischoff may be talking with Bret Hart. Oh, no, I'm not talking to Bret Hart. Well, guess what? Bret Hart debuts in WCW the next week. I understand Bischoff not wanting to comment if these negotiations are going on. But, how true is it? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going around. What we can tell you is definitely WCW is up for sale, and we're hearing that a deal could be announced this week. Of course, we heard that 2 months ago with the first Mandalay Sports deal. We've heard that 3 weeks ago with the World Wrestling Federation possibly buying the company. So who knows what's happening, Joe?
At this rate, we could pull our money together. I think I got like 37
Let me see your paycheck, because it's a hell of a lot bigger than mine.
I got like 37 cents in my pocket.
That might buy you. Never mind. Anyway.
Buy me the Cats contract.
There you go. Yeah. Bill Goldberg apparently is hurt again. Surprise, surprise. When talking with Knight Ridder Wrestling columnist Rick Russo, Goldberg confessed to him that he has a rotator cuff injury and that he will ultimately need to get surgery by noted Alabama doctor Dr. James Andrews. Now, Goldberg said that he has not had surgery yet because of all the injury problems right now in World Championship Wrestling. You've got Sting out with elbow surgery, Booker T suffering a cracked sternum at the pay-per-view this past Sunday. So a number of guys are hurt, and Goldberg is trying to just work through it right now until the time is right for him to get that done. That's
the biggest problem you got. You make all these budget cuts, you get rid of all this talent and everything, then you have your main guys get hurt, and you have no one to fall back on.
Well, out of the talent that got cut, who have they been able to fall back on? Roddy Piper?
Exactly.
No, I don't think so. Juventud Guerrero will return to AAA in Mexico. He's going to wrestle Friday night in Tijuana, so those of you Juve fans out there, I know there's a few. There's your Juve update. Thunder tonight, your main event, Buff Bagwell versus Scott Steiner for the WCW World Title. Bam Bam Bigelow battles Captain AWOL or Sergeant AWOL in a tables match. Jeff Jarrett and the Harris Boys take on the Filthy Animals. Shane Douglas, General Rection will battle each other. Also, hardcore title on the line as Crowbar defends against David Flair. And you've got Lex Luger and Norman Smiley. That's big.
Ooh.
That's big. Speaking of WCW, Torrie Wilson apparently is going to be released by World Championship Wrestling. Torrie is making $250,000 a year simply to be a valet. She's making more than a lot of the top talent in the World Wrestling Federation is making right now. And quite simply, you cannot afford to pay that much money to a valet, especially given the financial situation right now in World Championship Wrestling. They are trying to get her to take a pay-per-appearance deal. However, right now she's saying, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But her boyfriend's Billy Kidman. Now, Joe, you know wrestlers.
Yes.
You know what happens backstage behind the scenes.
Yes.
If you had a significant other who was a wrestler, would you let them go off by themselves if you could avoid it? No. Torrie will take whatever they give her just so she can keep her eye on Billy if she's smart.
I think the only time in recent history I can remember one boyfriend/girlfriend leaving and the other one staying without like a split or a divorce or something like that was the whole BB Hardcore Holly angle. Behind the scenes, where they let BB go.
That long, though.
Yeah, where they let BB go, but Hardcore still stuck around.
Right. ECW pay-per-view is this Sunday. Your main event's going to be a three-way dance for the ECW World Title. Steve Corino defending against Justin Credible and Jerry Lynn. Spike Dudley in a TV title match battles Rhino. And the World Tag Team titles will be on the line. the titles versus the future of the team. The FBI defend the ECW belts against Danny, Doring, and Roadkill. If Doring and Roadkill lose, they will be forced to split up as a team and will never compete together again in ECW. That would be sad.
Or at least until they come up with a new angle.
Yeah, exactly. And Tommy Dreamer will battle the Enforcer C.W. Anderson in an Extreme Grudge match. Now, let's talk about this Sunday's ECW pay-per-view and exactly, is it the final pay-per-view for Extreme Championship Wrestling? There is a lot of speculation that some of the higher-level talent, and mid-level talent too, in ECW will simply walk out of the company before the pay-per-view this Sunday because they are owed exorbitant amounts of money. Just Incredible has went on the record saying that, hey, if I can get out of my contract, I will because I'm not getting paid. Some of these guys, and Rob Van Dam's one of them, who are owed somewhere around $100,000 just in pay-per-view bonuses. From what I understand, Paul Heyman is in the, let's say, high seven figures when it comes to his debt. And he has been offered, and we've talked about this for the last 6 months or so. The World Wrestling Federation has said, look, Paul, if you need help, we will help you. You know, just tell us. And Paul's saying, no, I don't want your help. I want to do it on my own. This may end up costing him his company. I mean,
and probably a lot more, it sounds like.
Paul Heyman is a great wrestling guy. Well, he's not a wrestling. You know what I mean.
He's been in
Marty and I are
so
wrestling
many
guys.
years.
Yeah, he's got a great mind for wrestling, but the business side has always caused him problems. And the guy is, maybe to his fault, and maybe to his credit, too stubborn to go out and ask for help. So I think that hopefully something will happen to save ECW, because here's the bottom line. He has told some wrestlers that if you can find work with WCW or WWF, go ahead. Jerry Lynn was at the SmackDown tapings last night. He met with Jim Ross. Everything went well. They're going to have another meeting. It looks like Jerry Lynn could be on his way out of the company. Rob Van Dam is very disgruntled right now. We don't know what his future is going to be. Some people are saying, and this comes from a couple of different sources, that the December 23rd show at the ECW Arena will be the final show in ECW's history. Now, Paul Heyman says, no, we've got a pay-per-view scheduled in January. However, there are no shows booked after the 23rd.
You know, you look at different things. I mean, you could also look at the other factors. It's like, well, they just had Scott Hall come over and make some appearances. Well,
Yeah,
without any TV tapings, no one's really seen that. So if Scott shows up on the pay-per-view, maybe that might help some buys.
Well, they have the syndicated deal, but let's face it, locally the only way you can see them is on DATV Channel 20, and not a lot of people know about that. I think nationally, the only way you can really watch them is if you have DirecTV, and you can catch them on the Madison Square Garden network at like 2 a.m. on Saturday. So, they have to find a TV deal. If they find a TV deal, a lot of these problems will be rectified. But until then, they're going to go further and further in the debt. They're going to lose more wrestlers. And you got to wonder, you look at the talent ECW has lost in the last, let's say, 3 years. You go back and you look at Taz, Shane Douglas, Raven, Al Snow, the Dudley Boys, Sabu, Lance Storm. The list goes on and on and on. And it wasn't because these guys were so much upset with ECW or disgruntled with ECW. It came down to money. And Paul simply can't afford these guys, and what he's tried to do is combat this by signing guys like Just Incredible and Rob Van Dam to high-money contracts that he simply can't afford.
Not to demean their company, but ECW has always been a great, if you will, training ground. It's always been a great starting point, and if he loses that, there's not going to be a place for these wrestlers to come in and get that training to go into the next step into the big league.
No, they'll always be your HWAs, your UCWs, your local promotions. But certainly ECW is the number 3 in the big companies, and you take them away and you only have 2 big companies now. So hopefully they'll get their act together. The other thing, too, about ECW right now is they canceled their shows down in Texas for December 8th and 9th. And there's some speculation as to why that happened. Sandman, Steve Corino, Mikey Whipwreck, and Tajiri were scheduled to work a show for XSE Wrestling on December the 7th, which is right outside Dallas, which is where the shows were going to happen at a place called the Bronco Bowl. And the promoters there canceled the show based on these 4 wrestlers working the XSE show, according to ECW. Because these 4 guys were going to work an independent show in the same area, same town, with tickets that were far less than what the ECW tickets were going to cost, they said, the ticket sales aren't that well. A lot of the fans are just going to go to this cheaper show. We're just going to cancel the show altogether. Well, that cost Paul a TV taping because he doesn't have any TV to show after, I think, this week or next. So he needed to have these tapings on the 8th and 9th. However, XSE says ECW is lying. It's financial reasons that they canceled the show. So we're hopefully going to have a representative from XSE on later to discuss that. But there's a couple of let's say, holes in their story as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. The main event for Armageddon has been released. A 6-man Hell in a Cell match for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Kurt Angle defending. It's true. I haven't heard that from you in a long time. Kurt Angle defending against Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Triple H, and Rikishi. Now, my question is, these 6 guys in Hell in a Cell matches, the problem with Hell in a Cell is that Mankind Undertaker set such a standard for it. I don't know. They may have to get 2 cells. But you want to be
like the old War Games where they have the double.
Yeah, they may. But you look at these guys, and these are all great wrestlers. It's not, don't take anything away from them. But Hell in a Cell, you expect to see guys coming off the top, going through. Triple H isn't going to take that bump right now.
No, not with
Austin's not going to take that bump. Rikishi, maybe. But it certainly is going to be interesting to see what happens Hell in a Cell.
And we were talking about this match right before we went on the air, but another thing that popped in my mind that I didn't get a chance to say to you was, with this kind of main event, it reminds me of going back to the Big Six-Pack Challenge.
Yeah.
And you look at the undercard, and with having all this talent in your main event, you're not going to have a very strong undercard.
No, that's an excellent point. You got to think that the Dudleys will be involved somehow, the Hardy Boys.
The IC
Kane.
match has some potential there.
But, true. And Jericho and Billy Gunn, I'm sure. But we'll just have to see what happens, I guess.
Yes.
And we'll keep you informed on that. SmackDown tapings, some of the matches you will see tomorrow. The Hardy Boys and Lita battle the Radicals. Goodfather and Bull Buchanan against K-Quick and the Road Dogg. Scotty 2 Hotty battling Steven Regal. Billy Gunn, Chris Jericho team up to battle Kane and Chris Benoit. The Lowdown and Tiger Ali Singh take on the Dudley Boys and Steve Blackman in a table match. Hardcore match between Raven and Hardcore Holly. And in your main event tomorrow night on SmackDown, The Undertaker and Rock against Kurt Angle and Edge and Christian. And also the anniversary celebration of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. It's been 1 year since they exchanged nuptials and became husband and wife. It's been a very long year. Was that Julia? Julia, you're back.
Yes,
nice of you to join us tonight. Just running a little tardy.
The room got so much brighter.
It did, didn't it? I tell you what, we got to get to a break. When we come back, we've got a story about Nicole Bass. It's not a happy one, but we'll get you up to speed on that and a whole lot more. You are listening to The Wrestling Guys on Buckeye Country 106.5. Wrestling Guys brought to you by Dyer, Garofalo, Mann, and Schultz. Put a Tiger on your team. You can get a free consultation, and they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Put a Tiger on your team, Joe. Rawr. Call 1-800-INJURED. And Marty Adams on special assignment tonight. He's going to call in a little bit later to get us up to speed on what's happening in the world of Marty. And there's always a lot going on in the world of Marty.
Marty's an exciting man, if you knew him.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. On a serious note here, Nicole Bass is right now in the hospital in New York and apparently has a very serious infection in her pancreas. And I guess, according to the doctors, she has basically a 50-50 chance of survival. Basically, she's on a ton of medication, sedated. Reports are from Georgianne of OneWrestling.com that she can't even move her lips. And basically, she's not allowed to eat anything. Her diet consists of 9 ice cubes a day. She's gone into shock. She doesn't recognize anybody. So right now, they're trying to get the poison out of her bloodstream. The doctors have seen some improvement in her blood levels, but she still has a pretty long way to go. If you would like to send Nicole a card, you can do so at Nicole Bass, P.O. Box 790-321, Middle Village, New York, 11379. I'll repeat that address a little bit later in the show. But also making this even worse is that she doesn't have health insurance. So she's in you think of hospital bills, and they're racking up for her.
You like someone, you hate someone. Either way, you don't want to see someone in this predicament, especially this time of year.
Absolutely. Listen, there's no secret. Nicole Bass, we've kind of poked fun at. I haven't agreed with everything she's done in wrestling, but, wrestling and life and death, it's two totally different things there. And when somebody's in this kind of condition, you certainly want to wish them the best and try and do anything you can to help them out. A couple of things we didn't get to in the news. Ratings are in. Raw, once again, a 5.0. Third week in a row, they pulled down that number. Excuse me, I'm new here. Nitro did a 2.4 with a 3.3 share. Did you know there's a WWF pay-per-view this weekend?
Really?
Yes, there is, over in London. The Rebellion card. It's going to happen on Saturday. The main event's going to be a fatal four-way for the WWF title. Kurt Angle against Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rikishi, and The Rock. The Undertaker is going to battle Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho versus Kane. Bull Buchanan, the Good Father, defend the tag team belts with the Hardys. You've got Lita against Ivory for the women's belt. European title, William Regal versus Crash. He ought to get a good pop over there. I would think that Mr. Regal would. Steve Blackman against Perry Saturn in a hardcore match. A 3-team elimination table match. The Dudley Boys versus TNA versus Edge and Christian. Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko take on Chyna and Billy Gunn. Bradshaw versus Val Venus. That is going to happen now. As far as how we can see this here in the United States, they will tape this and sell the videotape later. There's also a possibility they may put it on pay-per-view at a later date, too, for us here in the U.S. So,
you know, how RTC has managed to hold on to their titles this long has just amazed me.
Good booking. Also, on a side note, TNN has signed a deal to telecast XFL games on Sunday afternoon. They join NBC, which will broadcast the Saturday night games, and UPN, which will air Sunday night games, as the broadcast partners for the XFL, which, of course, begins in February. So
not too far off.
Not too far off.
Getting kind of excited.
Got to find out if we're going to do a fantasy football league for XFLs.
Got any favorite team you're rooting for in the XFL so far?
I couldn't even tell. What's the one? Rage? Is that out of Chicago?
There's Rage.
Is it Rage or whatever?
The Hitmen.
The Hitmen.
There's the Outlaws.
I have to see what the rosters are. I don't know. Whichever one Dalvin Harper's on, I'll probably like. There you go. 457-1065 is our phone number if you want to hop on board tonight. Let's first go to line 1 and talk to Too Crazy. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Doing good.
Just want to remind everybody that this Saturday we're going to be out there in Yellow Springs for Project Christmas Smiles.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but it's the, the Big Dr. Creep Benefit Show. So looks like you guys are going to have a good time out there.
Oh, yeah, and it'll be my daughter's first show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you're going to watch Dad in the ring, huh?
She'll probably sleep most of the night.
Are you saying people sleep during your matches? That's not a good sign.
Oh, no, not that. It's just she's growing quick.
Nah, I know what you mean. But yeah, OCW, the Big Dr. Creep Benefit Show to Project Christmas Smiles. It's going to happen Saturday, bell time 7 o'clock. UCW is going to be out there as well with their tag team belts versus the OCW tag team champions. That'll be a pretty interesting match. And tickets are $10 at the door, but if you bring a new toy, you get half off, correct?
Yeah, $5 if you bring a toy.
And all the proceeds go to Christmas Smiles, right?
Yep, Project Christmas Smiles.
Yeah, I know it was a big show last year, and Dr. Creep is going to be out there. I know I'm going to be out there. I know Willie F's going to be out there. So Marty and I are going to talk about that a little bit later, too. So make sure you're listening for that, okay?
Okay, I want to give a special shout-out to all the guys in OCW.
All right, I'm sure they appreciate that. Thanks a lot for the call, Too Crazy. And if you want details on that card, you can give the OCW hotline a call at 229 8189. Back to the phone lines in line 2. It is the Undertaker guy. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah, my question is, why is the WWF trying to redo everything? I mean, it's like they've hit a run.
You mean they've kind of hit a bump in the road?
It just seems like the program is really like Thursday was the stupidest, was one of the worst programs.
Yeah, I mentioned this last week, and the whole, excuse me, the angles they had on Thursday, the backstage things with the whole Thanksgiving. I got it. See, Marty's here. No, if I have to cough, I can step away from the mic, and so I can't do that now.
Here, go ahead. I will say this before you get to the go ahead and cough.
Thank you.
Except for the Thursday thing, the last Monday show, I wouldn't really say any of the, when I say spots.
Kurt Angle saved it.
Yeah, well, he always does.
Oh, Kurt Angle saved it.
This is a love fest.
Okay,
here.
no, seriously. You look at last Monday's show, and there was a lot of botched promos. I mean, I hate to say it, but Kurt kind of jumped the gun at the very beginning of the show when Lita walked through the door and the Chris Benoit. I mean, everything almost looked too planned Monday.
A lot of the guys in the WWF are complaining of fatigue. Right now, they have a very heavy travel schedule. That may play into it. Some of the other things which I think are playing into it as well is Stephanie McMahon is now a part of the booking team. She's now part of the writing team. And you look at
Bill stick to being a bimbo because she can't write.
Well, I don't know, which of these storylines she has come up with and which she hasn't. But if you look at some of the things they've done over the last month or two, it's very 80s WWF, early 90s WWF-esque. The Thanksgiving thing they did last week on SmackDown could have come right out of Saturday night's main event, 10 years ago. So I wonder if, how much of that is her, because you think about, Stephanie is 22 years old. You think about when she grew up and what, most of us became wrestling fans. We were very young, and, she grew up around that time, and so that was probably, geez, I need some water or something. Very influential to her that time. So.
Well, like the Hell in a Cell match. I mean, like you said earlier, you always going to think of one Hell in a Cell match.
That's true, and you talk about the last Hell in a Cell between Triple H and Mick Foley. It was very disappointing when that cage came down, and you could see the holes they had in the side of the cage so they could climb up. And that takes away from the drama, that takes away from the thrill of that match. And I don't think they'll ever repeat how great that match was. And I'm not saying they should never do a Hell in a Cell again, but you look at those 6 guys and you just go, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't have high expectations for that match.
Well, I said this to you once again off the air, Shawn, and we were talking.
Why don't you say things to me on the air?
Well,
this is a
I'm
show.
getting ready.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm confused.
I'm getting
That's true. That's true.
The mic, light, and everything. So
yeah,
go ahead, Joe.
You look at the Hell in the Cells, and I disagree with you. I mean, yeah, there was some really pathetic ones, like the Boss Man Undertaker Hell in the Cell was just horrible. But see, I liked with the exception of the holes, I liked the Undertaker Cactus Jack one.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the Hell in the Cells, and I'm going to use the same comparison with like the movies Speed and Speed. And not compare it to the Mick Foley Undertaker one.
And Joe, I do admire you for being a Kurt Angle fan because we do not get enough respect.
It's not you that doesn't get respect, Undertaker guy. We just don't respect Joe. That's all it is. So.
They don't respect you by proxy. So you just
appreciate the phone call, Undertaker guy. Thanks a lot.
It's true.
It's true.
Take care, guys.
Speed 2. Speed 2.
I like Speed 2 individually.
Why does that not surprise me?
This is like the whole Mickey Dolenz, Leonard Nimoy monkeys comparison.
Exactly.
So I'm not even going to go there. Tell you what.
Let me ask you something real fast.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Austin actually wrestling for the past 2 weeks?
Austin has looked great. The Austin-Benoit match was good. Austin and Angle this past Monday was good. Austin looks like, he's finally got some of the rust shaken off. He looks like he's in good shape. He can go now. And it's been a refreshing change. The matches have been very solid. Some people said, he beat Benoit with a stunner. What? We saw a clean finish? We can't have that anymore? I mean,
exactly.
it was a refreshing change. I don't think it hurt Benoit at all, but I don't think it,
It's nice to actually see a hold in a wrestling match, though.
When's the last time you think Austin did an arm drag? Before last Monday?
Probably back in his WCW days.
But maybe back in world class. You are listening to The Wrestling Guys. When we come back, HWA champion Ray Steele. We'll be right back on Buckeye Country 106.5. Back on The Wrestling Guys, Buckeye Country 106.5. I am Shawn Stidham, sitting in for the on assignment Marty Adams. What? I don't even know your last name.
Joe.
Just Joe.
Just Joe.
Well, that's already taken.
Oh, I'm your average Joe.
You're the average Joe, and we are brought to you by Dyer, Garofalo, Mann, and Schultz. Put a Tiger on your team anytime you need help. Give them a call or stop by one of their many offices in downtown Dayton, Springfield, Heber Heights, Lima, Piqua, Middletown. Dyer, Garofalo, Mann, and Schultz. Put a Tiger on your side. Coming up with us next, he is the champion of the Heartland Wrestling Association. The guy was rated in the PWI Top 500, and he has less than a year in the business. Amazing story. And he is Ray Steele. Welcome to The Wrestling Guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Not a lot. Now, I understand you were at the school tonight, the Les Thatcher's main event camp, correct?
Yes, I am.
Is it true that Willie is there running the 6-on-6?
Is Willie running the 6-on-6 tonight?
Yes.
He might be trying to run in them. I don't think he's running them.
Now, explain the 6-on-6 so people understand what we're talking about.
A 6-on-6 is a drill, kind of a quick warm-up cardio drill where you just run the ring ropes back and forth. The guy tries to cut the other guy's knees off back and forth 6 times and give the guy a hip toss and reverse the order.
It's kind of like grinders in football in a way.
In a way.
In a way. Now, you have been the HWA champion since you won the tournament back at Pillman. And really, given the short time you've been in the business, you've had a lot of success.
Yeah, it seems to be that way.
Short and to the point. That's what I like, Race.
There's obviously more to achieve, but yeah, it seems to be going in the right direction.
Now, you talk about more to achieve. Do you have a timetable for yourself? HWA being the champion there is great, but, ultimately you want to, strive to go to WWF or WCW or somewhere along those lines. Do you see yourself going there, and do you have a personal timetable?
No, I don't have a timetable. It'll happen when it happens, when they feel I'm ready, or basically when they feel I'm ready. No, there's not a timetable. There's lots to learn. Some guys take 4 and 5 years to finally find their niche or whatever it takes to be in there, and it's just a matter of time.
Well, the nice thing is, I guess, it's been about 2 or 3 months since you worked the worldwide tapings?
Yes.
Yeah, and you were in a tag team match tonight, correct?
Yes, I wrestled with Cody Hawk and Taxi McMurphy against the MIA, Hugh Morris, Chavo Guerrero, and Lieutenant Loco.
How different was it wrestling against those guys compared to the guys you fought in the HWA?
Well, in that type of match, we really didn't get a whole lot of time to put in. They only gave us about 4 or 5 minutes, and in a 6-man tag, that's not a lot of time. But they were obviously top professionals. All three of those guys are really good workers.
Right.
It was nice to be in the ring with them. Some of our guys are just equally as good, I'd say. And then some guys are not. So.
Well, talking about your guys, for those that have never seen the Heartland Wrestling Association, you're going to start giving them an opportunity to do so for free every Tuesday night, correct?
Yes, we are. We're working on hopefully getting a TV programming in on Tuesday nights for this, similar to, I guess, the Ohio Valley type deal.
Yeah.
What the idea behind this is really to kind of get a lot of the newer guys out. A lot of kids who are coming out trying to wrestle for the first time. Instead of going in front of a paid attendance fans and taking that time away, we can put them out in a show for free. Whereas, then see how they go in that atmosphere first, and then take it to the next level. That way they could, some guys don't come out for a year.
Right.
Or practice 8 months to even 2 years. Some guys have taken that long to even come out. This way, kid can be here 6 to 8 months, try it once. If it's horrible, well, then he's going to go back to the drawing board and start again. Or if he does really well, well, then, hey, we could take him another step.
Now, you've been in the business how long? About a year?
About a year and a half.
Now, how were you able to kind of accelerate your development compared to some of these other guys?
I think a part of it is, a lot of it's who you are. I'm a really self-motivated person, and I try to keep on top of my body and in shape, and I'm an athlete. The number one thing, and I take it seriously. A lot of guys I find come in here, especially to the school, they just come in thinking they're going to be pro wrestlers, and they played high school football, but they've been sitting around for 3 or 4 years.
Joe?
No comment.
Okay.
They haven't been doing a whole lot, and they're trying to not only get their bodies back in athletics again, but then trying to do something that's just foreign to them. I was fighting in the pro shoot fighting circuit, as well as boxing, too. So I came from it. I studied jiu-jitsu, which is similar to wrestling, I guess, in a way. It's more about submission holds, but it's a lot of rolling around and tumbling. And I think coming from that to this was a lot of athletics and my equilibrium, which is your balance and your brain spinning around in circles all the time. It really helped out a lot.
Now, we've heard people talk about when other guys have come over from shoot fighting and whatnot to pro wrestling, that sometimes some of their former counterparts give them a hard time. Did you find that?
Yeah, a little bit. The guys that trained me, they fought all over the world for years. 30 and 40 years they've been, training people in fighting. So they got a lot of respect for the martial arts, which I do too. After being there I studied it for 3 years, and I mean, just that far, I only got a brown belt. And there's a lot of respect for the martial arts, but at the same time, it's really interesting. It's kind of a long story, but the mixed martial arts associations, which means the shoot fighting and the no holds barred fighting nowadays, are banned in so many places. The boxing commissions in Las Vegas will not allow it. And that's same with Atlantic City. They're shutting them down because boxing is the money. And it's hard to make a living in that unless you're going over to Japan or Thailand or somewhere like that.
Right. Which is ultimately really the reason you see guys like Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn and others make the jump over to pro wrestling, because it's easier to collect a paycheck.
It did that, and it's a lot more long-lasting.
Exactly.
If you break your arm in those fights, there's a lot of times it's an ending career, because those submission holds are meant to destroy your arm and elbow and break. And if you lose a joint like that, it can kill your career pretty quick.
Now, we're talking about these free shows. They're going to start on December the 12th, correct?
December the 12th, I believe. Next Tuesday will be the first show.
And for details, they can call you at the school at...
They can call the school or check on the website.
And you've got a new section on the website, too, correct?
Yeah, I believe it should be up by now.
All right, and that's hwaonline.com?
Yep.
Real quickly, you guys have a big show coming up next month with Ohio Valley Wrestling. Talk a little bit about that. That
would be at the Grand Victoria Casino. I believe Big Show is going to be wrestling Mark Henry in the main event. And what is the date on that? January 26th.
Tell Lou hi.
Said hello, Lou. Yeah, all ages are welcome, and that's going to be the main event. Would be Big Show against Mark Henry. Jim Cornette will be there, as well as about a 6-man tag of Ohio Valley wrestlers. A-Squad will be wrestling Cody and Taxi for a Falls Count Anywhere match, and I will be in a rematch with Chad Collier.
Sounds exciting. And again, for more information, go to hwaonline.com or give the school a call at 513-771-1650. Ray, thanks a lot for joining us. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
HWA champion Ray Steele. And again, starting December the 12th, free shows down at the HWA Main Event Pro Wrestling Camp. And if you've never seen the HWA, it'll be a great opportunity for you to see him for free. You can't beat that price.
Being here in Ohio, I mean, a lot of people knock Ohio, but if you're an Ohio wrestling fan, there's just so many places to go to see some good wrestling around here.
You look at the guys like from Ohio Valley Wrestling and from the HWA, which are really just a step below WCW and the World Wrestling Federation. Then you look around here locally with guys like UCW, OCW, VCW. There's such great outlets for people to go to and to work and to get trained and to get involved. And it's just a great area to be in. A lot of times people talk about how great this area is if you're a college basketball fan. And, of course, right down the road tonight, you've got a big game with UD and UC. But for a wrestling fan, this area is not bad.
Oh, no, not bad at all.
Because you got, again, you talk about the locals, but, Cleveland, Indianapolis are hotbeds for the World Wrestling Federation and for WCW and Columbus and go down Louisville and Lexington. So it's a great area to be in if you're a fan. Let's get back to the phone lines. 457-1065 is our phone number. And from line 3, it's Ice. From
Hey, guys.
Hey, Ice. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm just fine. I was wondering, you know how at the beginning of the show on Raw, when Kurt Angle came out, he said that he was going to tell Stephanie that he didn't need her no more?
I think Joe knows all about when Kurt Angle comes out.
Stephanie, too, actually.
Yeah, I think you pay attention to Stephanie, too.
So what was that? What did he know that Stephanie was there that night?
Well, earlier in the show, they had made the comment that their plane or their travel plans had been delayed or something, and that's why Kurt said, well, when she gets here, I'm going to tell her I don't need her kind of thing. And I think what they're trying to do there is they're going to, because of Hunter's heel turn again, and they're wanting to keep Steph with Hunter, they're wanting, instead of having her with two different heels and not wanting them two to get along necessarily, they're wanting to pull her away from Kurt so she can spend more time with Hunter.
Right.
Yeah. And is Triple H 100% ready to come back from his back?
No. Triple H is not going to wrestle this weekend in London because of the back injury. He is going to wrestle probably for the first time back at Armageddon, and odds are he is still going to be in some pain then. So
yeah, but with 5 men to carry him, probably not as much pain as he would have been.
Right. He won't be as, let's just say, as open
as active.
Exactly, as he would be in another match. But then again, Triple H is one of those rare guys who, to paraphrase Willie F., you get hurt, you rub some dirt on it, and get back right in the ring. He's a tough guy. He probably will not let this slow him down in the least for a pay-per-view. And I don't expect anything other than another great performance from Triple H.
And if it does happen, Triple H has carried so many matches with so many other people anyway, you could let him slide one time.
Absolutely. And then again, when you're talking about a main event with 6 guys, if Triple H is just so bad that he can't go, I wouldn't be surprised if before the pay-per-view you see some kind of angle where Austin attacks him in the back or something along those lines and explains Triple H's absence from the match.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because that seemed awfully short.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, well, thanks a lot for the phone call, Ice. Appreciate it. Real quick, let's go to line 4, Richmond. It's Chris. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
What's up?
What's up with you?
Not much, man. I just want to give a quick shout out to my friend Jason.
Okay, that's all?
Yeah.
Howdy, Jason.
Okay, thanks a lot for the phone call. It's like the Personals Network, I guess, now, you know?
Yeah.
You just want to call up and say hi, We don't want to talk about wrestling, no question, exactly.
By the way, just a disclaimer here, that was a joke. We're not going to be hooking people up on this show, so don't...
No. Julie, I'm sorry. I know you're disappointed now. Anyway, 457-1065. I tell you what, we're going to get to a break. When we come back, I'm going to try and hunt down Marty Adams. He's been missing for a couple of weeks, and I checked the milk cartons. I didn't see his picture there. I'm looking everywhere I can, and we'll try hunting him down. You're listening to The Wrestling Guys. I'm Shawn Stidham. This is Average Joe.
The Average Joe.
The Average Joe on Buckeye Country 106.5. We'll be right back. Back here on The Wrestling Guys. Julia, that's the same music you used to outro us. We need some variety here. You understand that?
I know,
We
but
need
I'm
to keep
using...
things fresh and snappy.
I'm going to hurt you.
She likes that. Anyway.
She says so subtly.
We are The Wrestling Guys. I am Shawn Stidham. Marty Adams out tonight on assignment. The Average Joe is sitting in for Marty, and brought to you by Dyer, Garofalo, Main, and Schultz. Put a Tiger on your team. Call 1-800-INJURED, and they will give you all the details you need to know. One guy who is often in need of legal services is Scott Hall, and last week Scott got himself into some trouble again. Back on November 22nd, he was involved in a 3-car accident down in Seminole County, Florida. Problem was he was going westbound on the eastbound lane of Red Bug Lake Road. Isn't that a great... I love that name of road, but, it's not a funny thing, but the road's funny. Anyway, police found 2 one unopened beer bottles in Scott's car. They went to the hospital to question him. Scott didn't remember anything. They had him take after he got released from the hospital, they had him take a field sobriety test. He failed that. They then had him take a breathalyzer test. 3.5 hours after the accident happened, Scott on the breathalyzer test blew a .27 and a .26. The guy was basically sweating beer. If you went by and touched him, your hand would be smelling like beer. That's how bad it was. The legal limit in Florida, by the way, for alcohol is a .08. So the guy had 3 times more than the legal limit of alcohol in his body. Now, they asked him to give a urine sample. He said no.
At that point.
At that point, it's like, come on.
Is there really a point not to?
No, but
technically at that point it'd be like trying to tap a keg anyway.
Yeah, one of his that's bad. One of his friends said that Scott had been very upset over some things in his personal life. Apparently, Scott has been in a custody battle with his former wife, Dana, or strange wife, whatever it is, and he was on his way to pick the kids up and just went right by the house and kept on driving. I mean, the guy has some serious issues.
You know what scares me even more than that is he went to pick his kids up in that condition.
Well, he went to pick his kids up, but he didn't. But the thing is, the guy has some serious issues, and we don't mean to make fun of him, but at the same time, when people have these problems happening over and over and over, they've got to get some help. Something's got to happen. You look at Robert Downey Jr., it's kind of eerie that this happens around the same time. But, there's another guy that's been given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. You think of Darryl Strawberry in baseball, so hopefully...
When it becomes ritual, it's a problem.
Well, the one guy who put it the best was Tommy Lasorda, and this was when Darryl Strawberry was having problems when he was with the Dodgers.
Right.
And he said, you know what? It's not a sickness; it's a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And not to discredit the guy, but let's face it for what it really is. And I hope Scott Hall gets the help he needs. And somebody else he's hurting here too is Extreme Championship Wrestling. There was a lot of speculation that Scott Hall would be at the pay-per-view this Sunday. The fight just incredible. They were working on some kind of deal, and unfortunately, it doesn't now look like that's going to happen. So, yes, Julia.
There's someone on the phone.
There's someone on the phone. Okay. Would you like to introduce the person or?
No.
Okay. Well, someone on the phone. Who is this?
What do you mean, who is this?
Oh, my God! Where the hell have you been?
Look, some of us have to go out on assignment. That's the problem. You sit in the studio, you want to be a wrestling guy. A real wrestling guy gets out in the field and finds out what's going on.
Marty?
Yes?
We have caller ID. You can't be on assignment from Diamonds, okay?
Well, why can't you?
Jasmine St. Clair is not there tonight, okay?
I was just getting ready to say pulsations, but okay, Diamonds works.
Hey, I'm looking for ring girls. I'm my only professionals.
He's looking for a valet to bring in the studio here to go fetch his water.
Absolutely. So what's going on with you?
Hey, not much. A lot going on, though. I know you've been talking about the big HWA announcements. Obviously, the Grand Victoria bringing in WWF stars, and then the Tuesday night shows, which I think is going to be a great opportunity to go down, have an opportunity to see HWA headquarters, and really take a look at one of the premier wrestling facilities in the Midwest.
One of the questions we get asked a lot is about, how do I become a wrestler? Where should I go? Number one, you want to get trained, and quite simply, Les Thatcher's school down in Cincinnati is so nice with the audio-visual room, with the 2 rings set up at all times, and with the knowledge that the instructors down there have. It's a great place to go, and again, to be able to go down there and see that kind of action and also see the school for free is a great opportunity for you.
And I think what's going to happen, what's going to come out of that, is people are going to go down, see what things are going on down there, and realize that it's not everybody that's blessed with having something like that available to them right near their hometowns. And if you look at the students that go to Les Thatcher School, they're from Florida, they're from the West Coast, they're from the East Coast. They come here and relocate, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to showcase their talents, keep their abilities sharp in a show-type setting, and also to be able to bring in some people to see what it's really like. So it's going to be great. Tuesday nights are going to become pretty special down here in the Miami Valley once again.
Yeah, and the school's really about, 30, 35 minutes from Dayton, so it's not that far at all.
Yeah,
and
exit 14.
Yeah, it's about 2 or 3 minutes off 75, so it's real easy to get to. Hey, let's talk about something happening here this Saturday, and it was a big time last year. It's the Dr. Creed Christmas Smile Show with Outlaw Championship Wrestling, John Bryan Community Center in Yellow Springs this Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun once again.
Hey, you got to love it. OCW did a great job last year. A lot of people remember Dr. Creed, one of the longtime individuals in the Miami Valley going back, God, Shawn, years and years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to do things for children, toys for children.
Clubhouse 22, you got to love that.
Yeah, last year now, wasn't there a break-in? They lost all the toys.
Yeah, there was, right before the holidays, Christmas Smiles. Really, it's a year-long project. They work on this all year long, and the toys that they had collected, some, I can't use the word here, but went and stole all the toys. So they were really, hard-pressed there towards the end, and Outlaw Championship Wrestling came through big time.
And I think this year is going to be great. Shawn, I can't be there. We have a Christmas party that we have to attend. You're the one that usually does the social events, not me.
Yeah, that's true. And but I will be there this Saturday, and we're going to help out in our own little way.
That's right, Shawn. We've got a lot of things. I know the wrestling guys are going to be donating some real unique items. We're going to be donating a Bill Goldberg lithograph that's numbered, commemorating his win streak. We're going to have some signed Steve Austin. We're going to have some Kevin Nash signed items. I'm also thinking about throwing in something match-worn for the show, and I don't know what yet. I'm trying to come up with something. I know I still have a few T-shirts from some of the appearances that the guys have done at Classic Cards and Collectibles, and I'm going to throw in some Shane Douglas stuff, and we're just going to have a great time. You're going to be there and raffle some of this off, and every dollar going to charity.
And we've also got a few other items that have been given to us, some copies of Mick Foley's Christmas Chaos. We've got
I got one of those.
You're taking care of me.
Oh, okay.
Also, we've got some video games from THQ, so we're going to give away some stuff on some raffles. And again, everything's going to go to charity, every single penny, every single dollar to help Outlaw Championship Wrestling, and more importantly, Christmas Smiles.
So it's going to be a great, this Saturday night, OCW once again doing a great job. And just, I'll tell you what, the Miami Valley, a hotbed, we've talked about it for, almost 2 years now.
Yep.
And HWA, OCW, VCW looking to do some shows again. I was just talking to Todd the other night, and they're trying to get their Pickwick show scheduled in once again because I've been getting a lot of email on our website. It's just everything's going on, and it's a great holiday season in the Miami Valley.
And we look forward to being there Saturday. At least I know you will be there in spirit. I think Willie's going to be there as well. And we got to get to a break, but Marty, take it easy on the couch dances, okay?
Hey, man, wait a minute. I am taking and exploring new talent for the wrestling world.
Hey, remember, it's rude to ask for change.
Oh, my God. Well, can I ask for an extra dance?
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine.
They're just parading in front of me with ring numbers.
Marty, take care. Hopefully I'll see you here next week.
I'll be calling back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, give us an update.
I will give you a ring girl update later.
Thank you. We need that. It's a family show.
All right, send the 69th Wonder to the World over. I want to check it out.
Stand in line. You're listening to the Wrestling Guys on Buckeye Country 106.5.
A little squeamish there, Joe?
Stories off the air, Yes, a little bit. You're listening to the Wrestling Guys. We are Shawn Stidham. This is the Average Joe filling in for Marty Adams. The 69th Wonder of the World, Julia, behind the board, and we are on Buckeye Country 106.5, brought to you by Dyer, Garofalo, Mann, and Schultz. You okay there, Joe?
You're still a little shaky, okay. But you know what, Shawn? I got to tell you something. The end of the year is coming, right?
Yes, it is.
We got 1 month left.
Yes, it is.
And you know what I'm really starting to look forward to?
What's that?
Caller of the Year.
Well, you can't get that.
I know I can't get that, but I'm kind of looking forward to see who we got in contention of Caller of the Year this year.
It will be interesting, and next week we're going to start running down the rules for the Wrestling Guys 2000 Listener Awards, so make sure you're listening for that next week. In a few minutes, we're going to have Gary Michael Capetta from the book Body Slams on, but let's take a couple quick calls. Line 5, Big Daddy Raj Cox. How you doing, sir?
What's up, guys?
Not a lot. Yeah, I think you've met him once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, Raj.
I think somebody stole his VCR and used it in one of our matches a couple years, but last year before last.
Joe, would you like to elaborate on that?
Oh, no comment.
All right.
Do what you have to do.
Hey, Raj, we before the break, we talked about schools, and you're going to have something campish coming up.
Yeah, coming up in January, we're trying to work some things out with the 801. We're going to run if guys have been wanting to be wrestlers or want to know what it's like just to be in the ring and, before they even make it to a school like Les Thatcher's and they want to come out, we're going to set up a wrestling camp for one day.
Oh, that's good.
And, you got that stuff going on in Philly and Connecticut and stuff like that, so why not Dayton, Ohio?
Absolutely.
We're the hotbed of professional wrestling. Everybody stops through here at least 3 or 4 times a year, you know what I mean? So, for guys with the aspiration, we're going to have a couple of ECW guys down, most of the local guys, and, hopefully the wrestling guys out there, you know what I mean?
What date is that going to be on?
I'm not sure yet. Like I said, we're working with the 801, but it's going to be like the second week of January.
Now, Julia wants to go. Is that possible?
I've never met her, but yes.
You're going to be her personal trainer, right?
You'll be Raj's personal for the night.
No.
I know Baby Doll was Dusty Rhodes' personal. She can be your personal.
Okay.
I didn't think we'd have to twist the arm too hard there.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with it. I like her.
Okay.
But, I want to talk about last week. We had a great show at the 801 Union Hall, and it was the big return to UCW, and we had quite a crowd out there, and New Jack even popped up on the scene, and it was great. And now this week, we're doing the OCW thing.
Yeah, you are going to be involved in a OCW versus UCW tag team match.
Right. It's no titles on the line, just pride. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
May the best team win, and I think me and the Wrecker are the best team.
Well, you're a little biased in that opinion, aren't you?
Of course. I'm doing the interview, right?
Absolutely. And I know I'm going to be out there Saturday. I think even Willie F's going to make an appearance. So,
this is something great, man. I mean, it's good that they did this for a second or third year, you know what I mean? And it's something great for the community, and everybody always puts wrestling down for the bad things. Let's see how much publicity we get out of this great thing we're doing.
Absolutely, and it's nice to see that, sometimes you get some rivalries here in the area that might be a little bit petty between the organizations.
Right.
And in this case, hey, it's a good cause. Forget territories, forget anything like that, and let's just do something good for the fans and also for the charity.
Right, and you can actually come out and see me and the Wrecker just plow through, guys. I mean, the CIA are good, but they're good in OCW, and we're UCW, so we're going to have some fun. We're gonna make it some excitement for the show, and hope everybody enjoys it, and we hope to see a lot of people out there.
Hey, Raj, let's shift gears real quick. Obviously, people know that you work with Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I've talked to people, and I know you have too. What's your thought about the stuff about the 23rd of this month being the final show for ECW, the rumors about that?
I don't think so. For one reason, they got the new thing with the Farm Club where they put up a lot of money with Paul Heyman.
Right.
All I can see is, like, this year, people, Paul Lee's a mastermind of letting things go and then exploding.
Right.
And so I'm looking at, hopefully, I mean, this is just, something we all wish for, is that, Paul Lee goes out the rest of the year, everybody thinks he's going out of business, then come January, he explodes on the scene with, if some of the guys want to leave, you can't blame them, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Especially with the pay thing. I talked to New Jack, and I talked to Rhino, and, I do a lot of shows with these guys, and everybody's on the same thing. What's going on? Well, Paul Lee don't tell nobody until the last minute.
The one thing we heard last week was that they were supposed to get some checks before Thanksgiving. That didn't happen.
Well, see, I heard from my boss of Atlas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That the checks were in the mail.
Now, but the checks are in the mail. Did they arrive where they're supposed to?
They never reached there yet.
I gotcha.
So what's going to happen is they'll get checks this week at the pay-per-view.
Okay.
All right, but you're still going to have guys mad.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Guys are just going to be ticked off because if there's so much money being owed to them, it's not that they're, sinking the ship and jumping ship to the other organization. Man, these guys got families and mortgages and car payments just like everybody else. So when you're used to making a certain amount of money and you don't have no money, they get behind on bills just like any other person. So it's not, selling out. It's going ahead and get your check.
I know one thing that Paul said is that, if everybody leaves, I'm still going to keep ECW. I'm still going to run it, even if I got to go out and find, some of the top independent talent that are used to making $50 and $200 a match and bring those guys in. So even though, some of the names may change, Paul, and at least what his idea of the spirit of ECW, he's going to try and keep going on.
Right. Well, see, that's why they're boosting up guys like C.W. Anderson, Easy Money, Christian York, and them guys, because the simple fact, these guys are driving back and forth instead of being flown. They're a little cheaper, but they're putting these guys way over. Like, look at Steve Corino. Who would ever think him to be the ECW heavyweight champion?
Right.
You know what I mean? But he's a cheaper commodity than Just Incredible and Jerry Lynn and these guys, so why not put him as a champion? But I don't look for him even to be champion that long, because I can see them dumping the belt on another big-time guy before he leaves and then dropping it on like an Easy Money or something like that just to see how far it can go. Hello?
Yeah. I gave the opportunity for Joe to talk.
For a second.
I'm like, Joe, go ahead, ask a question.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm in awe.
Raj, you've made Joe in awe.
Oh, that's all right. But, I mean, like I say, I keep in contact with a lot of these guys, and I do a lot of stuff out of Michigan with Huck and the guys, which Huck doesn't work for him anymore. But guys like Rhino and Justin and these guys come in and do independent shows. So you get the feedback like, we're all pretty much good friends. I got to watch them, and they appreciate it. So we talk like we're buddies, but everybody's on the same thing. Paul Lee, what's going to happen? And Paul Lee ain't going to tell you, like I said, until, hey, he's wanting to see who's going to be faithful to him. And then hopefully at the beginning of the year, with all this money from Farm Club and everybody else, I don't see him sinking the ship just like that.
Well, certainly he has survived the loss of guys like the Dudley Boys and Taz and Raven and whatnot. So, who's to say that he can't survive losing a couple of others?
Right.
Hey, Raj, appreciate the phone call.
Hey,
real
can
quick.
I give out one quick plug?
Yeah, go ahead.
New Jack's going to be making a video next Saturday night at Frog's Nightclub.
A video?
A video, and it's going to be shown on ECW TV.
Wow.
So we're going to make it right here in Dayton. He's going to put on the best of New Jack some of the clips of his matches, and plus we're going to be at Frogs taping him getting down with the girls.
Sounds good. Well,
so I want to thank you guys, and hopefully we see you out this weekend, and we're going to have a great time.
Raj, I'll be there Saturday night. Look forward to it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Take care, Daddy.
Thank you very much. And Julie, did you chase down Gary yet?
Line's still busy, so I'm going to try back.
So Gary Michael Capetto's on in just a little bit, hopefully. But let's go to line 6. It's the Spanish Fly. Fly, you're on the Wrestling Guys. You sound like you had a lot of repression there, Fly.
I've got a lot of alcohol, if that's what you're meaning.
Okay, what's on your mind?
Hey, where's Marty at, man? Is he rating the best buffets in Dayton again?
Last we heard, I think Marty's is leaving Diamonds and en route somewhere else.
Hey, I got dibs on filling in for him next week.
You call next, correct? You got next.
Yes.
He calls shotgun.
You got, yes.
Hey, what were the ratings again for WWF and WCW?
WCW was a 2.4, WCW was a 2.4, WWF was a 5.0.
You forgot one. Scott Hall had a .27.
Oh, gee. Well,
thank you, I'll be here all night. Try the beer.
What do you think you have?
What's that?
What do you have?
What do I have?
Well, if Scott's at .27, you got to be at least in the .5.
Oh, close, yeah.